Yep. Parts of it. Not all of it, but parts of it. Okay, so what we have here, let's worry about the front first. What we are going to do is we are going to simplify these. So what you have to do is you have to go and pull out what's in common first. Always look for what's in common. So what's in common with those two? 8. So we are going to go 8, and then 8 times what gives me 8a? A. 8 times what gives me negative 8b? Negative b. On the bottom, you guys have to start remembering that if you have two perfect squares separated by a subtraction, what do those factor into? A plus b and a minus b. Remember, it's the square root of the first and then the square root of the second. All right. So, yep. What is in common? What is in common on the top and on the bottom?
A minus b.
A minus b. So, we are going to cross off an a minus b on the top and an a minus b on the bottom. Leaving us with 8 over a plus b as our answer. Yes?
Should just like simplify the fraction, like the b cancel out and then the a's cancel out.
Nope. This happens like that, but you cannot do that because this is saying that it's a times that. You cannot just, so you can't just come over here and go, oh, this has 3 and that's gone, this a and these and those and that, because that wouldn't be the answer. You can't, you have to, it has to be a multiplication before we can subtract. Now on the back side, when you get there, you're going to be able to, because there's no addition or subtraction when it's like thus. But when it has addition and subtraction, you cannot just cross it off like that. Because then if you did that, these would cancel out, and these would cancel out. Your answer would be 8x, right? But it's not going to be. All right. So, to factor the top, x squared plus 8x plus 16. Now, if you are still struggling with the with factoring, you're going to have to probably do it on another piece of paper. Unless you have enough room. I did try to leave you guys room.
Wait, so is
This is this one.
okay.
But what, how do I factor? There's nothing in common, so I have to do AC. A is 1, C is 16, so AC is 16. And we're looking for two numbers that multiply together that gives me 16, that add to give me 8, and you are right, 4 and 4. Now, if you still need to factor the long way, do it on a separate sheet of paper. But if not, I'm not going to, I'm going to jump. So I have, if A is 1, you can jump to this. So it's x plus 4 and x plus 4. Now, if A is not, then we have to continue on, but A was 1, so we can do that. What is on the bottom? What does A squared minus 16 factor into?
X minus 4 and then x plus 4.
Yes, x plus 4 and x minus 4. What do they have in common? These two are different, so it stays, that's your answer. So x plus 4 over x minus 4. All right. On number 7, whenever you have a negative in front of x squared, you have to pull that out first. So I'm going to factor the top. So I have negative x squared plus 8x minus 12. If I pull out a negative 1, what do I have left?
X squared
minus 8x plus 12. So AC is 12, and I'm looking for something that adds up to be negative 8. Yep, does everyone see that? 6 and 2, and we want negative 8. Negative 6, negative 6, positive 2. So, our... Oh, both negative. Yep, both are negative. Ooh. Yep, both are negative. Negative 6, negative 2. You can jump, remember, to the parentheses. So we have negative 1 in front. And it's x minus 6. And x minus 2. Over what? X minus 2. These cancel out. So we have negative 1 over x minus 6.
Can you do number 8?
Yeah, I can do it. Yep. You want me to do number 8 first? So on 8, the first thing I would do is I would go 2a cubed plus a squared minus 8. 3a. The first thing you always have to do is find out what's in common. A, see how a's are all in all of them? So I'm going to pull out an a. A times what gives me 2a cubed? A times what gives me a squared? A times what gives me negative 3a? Alright, so now we pulled out what's in common. Now what's the next step? AC. So AC equals what? 2 and negative 3 is negative 6. We're looking for two numbers that multiply together that gives me negative 6, that when I add them equals b, which is 1. 2 and 3. And your 2 is your negative. Did you see that, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Okay. Then because a is 2, we have to go through it. So it's going to be a out front, just bringing that down. So we're rewriting it 2a squared minus 2a plus 3a, and then we're bringing that down. So you're rewriting it with those terms. What's in common here? 2a. What's left? 2a times what gives me 2a squared? Minus 1. And here we're going to pull out from yesterday? Yeah. Yep. Just bringing down the a. What, don't you understand? This part? Do you understand up to, do you understand up to this part? Okay, then I found two numbers that multiply together to give me negative 6 that adds up to 1. Yeah. So you got that. Yeah. Then I rewrote this. Do you understand up to that point? Yeah. Okay. So then you look, what's in common with these first two? 2a. So you go 2a times what gives me 2a squared? 2a times what gives me 2a squared? A. If you said it, I didn't hear it, sorry. 2a times what gives me negative 2a? Negative 1. Then you look at the next two. What do those two have in common? The next two. 3. So you put, and you always have the same sign, so we're going plus 3. So 3 times what gives me 3a? 3 times what gives me negative 3? Yep. And then, what is here and here? what's left here, after this is taken out, you have a 2a. And after this one's taken out, you have a plus 3. Yep. Okay. So, and so we have the final answer was your a minus 1 and 2a plus 3. All right, that's your top. All right, now I want you to do the bottom. The bottom one. So you got to pull out the A first and go for there. On the back side, I'm gonna show you. I would better finish this up. Let's finish this up so I don't leave you hanging. All right, so we have 6a cubed plus 5a squared minus 6a. What do they all have in common? An a. What's left? 6a squared. A times what gives me 5a squared? 5a. And then a times what gives me a negative 6a? Negative 6. AC is negative 36, and I wanted to add to give me 5. So we got 9 and 4, and we want it to be negative 4, right? Yep. So, Hannah, walk me through it. Do you know it? So I got a, I'm going to bring this down, I have 6a squared plus 9a minus, very good. All right, what is my next step, Josh? Yep, what's in common with 6 and 9. There you go. So what's in common with 6a squared and 9a? 3a. So I am left with 2a plus 3. And I have to bring that a down so I don't lose them. Then the same sign comes down, and what is in common with 4a and 6? 2. So negative 2 times negative 4a gives me a 2a. Negative 2 times what gives me a negative 6 is plus 3. Last we have is 2a plus 3 and 3a minus 2. You all know you wouldn't. So we have a and 2a plus 3 and 3a minus 2. All right. So we have to get rid of things that are in common. So my a's are in common. 2a plus 3 are in common. So I have a minus 1 and 3a minus 2. All right, I will do one. Actually, I'll do 2 of the back, and then I'll just give you 5 problems to do from the back. I'm cutting them down to 5, so that should be good. You could do them all. All right. So, whenever, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you have things that are just multiplied together, there's no addition, there's no subtraction. All you have to do is reduce. So if you have if you have an S on the bottom, you take away an S on the top. So the s's cancel. The s's could have canceled here, but I just chose to cancel there. This r, I have one r on the bottom. How many r's do I have on the top? 2. So I'm going to cancel one of the r's. We have 24 and 3. How many times does 3 go into 24? How many times does 3 go into 24? 3 times 8. All right. 8 times my negative 21 is 168. Then we have r and s squared and nothing on the bottom. Yep. Okay. You had, I'm just going to do your r's and s's. R squared, s squared, and s on the bottom. S on the top and r here. This is an s and this is an s. Okay, so they can cancel out. Because one's on the top, one's on the bottom. You can think of that being the whole thing. This, so you have one on the bottom, one on the top, you cancel. Okay. Now you have one r here. How many do you have here? You have one r. Yeah. R, s squared. Then this is 21. There's a 21 here. So negative 21 times 8, because those are your numbers.
When you get 24 divided by 3 is 8. Shouldn't it at the top should say 8rs squared?
Yes, but this 8 has to be multiplied by this negative 21. For our,
Oh, okay, I get it now.
what is this symbol right here? Times. So you have 8 times negative 21.
I didn't see the little s squared.
Alright, number 2. It like starts with our z's. We have how many z's on the top? 1. So how many z's do we have on the bottom? 2. So we have 1 z left on the bottom. How many x's do we have on the bottom? 1. How many on the top? 2. So we have how many on the top? 1. Y's cancel out. X over z. That's it. But that's the only. These are only 2. We just did the 2 easiest ones. Now, those are. What's the difference between these and the other ones? Is these have addition signs. Anytime adding is into it, we have to do the same exact thing. We have to factor it.
They make you think it's easy, and then you're like, oh, I get it, and then after it makes you
So I'll do 3 with you, and then you guys can do 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll get the right side you want to do. You have to do a minus one, sure, like the number 4. Okay, that's fine. When you have x squared minus 1, the first thing you have to do is think of your perfect squares. X plus 1 and x minus 1. And then we have x squared on the top, because that's on the top still. This right here is a thing that you have to know. If you had this, what would you say this is?
x minus 4 and x plus 4.
Whoops. Right? What would you say this is?
3 and 3, negative 3.
So it's x plus 3 and x minus 3, right? So when we have this, what's the square root of 1 is 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. So it's x plus 1, x minus 1. It's the same as what the other ones are, but it's 1. And then the x squared is just from there. All right. Then we have x on the bottom, and we have an x minus 1 from right there. X minus 1's cancel. X's cancel. Leaving us with x plus 1, and nothing on the bottom. Alright. Alright. And I'm going to come around, I'm going to turn